The other thing I was wondering is like, what if I'm just afraid of being done with the series because then I'll have to like share it and tell the story, which also feels like taking off my mask. That's too deep. That's too deep for me. Like, literally, it's making me feel weird saying this. A lot of the people that I paint have on sunglasses, especially recently. And it's because I started a series and it's about masking and visibility. But now that I'm about a little over halfway through, I'm really questioning if the art is actually saying what I need it to say. And then I'm like, am I questioning what I've made because of creative anxiety? Or am I afraid of what happens when the series is done? And now I have to talk about it. Let's get into it. Okay, so earlier today I was mapping out this video and it was very much focused on how this series that I'm working on is giving flop in that I'm just not excited about it anymore. However, hold please. However, now that I've spent a full day in here just focused on really thinking about what I want it to be and what the last two paintings in the series will be, I'm much more clear about what we're doing. So let's walk and talk. It's looking a little chaotic in here. That doesn't matter. But basically, the Sunnies is about masking and my experience with masking and the ways in which I love sunglasses and the ways in which they really help me show up in the world. And there's like this duality to it as well. Just like one part is getting into character as a mask, and the other part is like your mask is slipping. Like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do the act anymore. Yes, I'm still gonna wear my sunglasses, but I'm also just like, the thing is like bursting out of me. I can't like hold it in. And this morning I was just like, you know what? This whole series is giving like too cute. I don't feel like it's really capturing exactly the fullness of my feelings around this and really sort of like getting into the mask and how it's not all fun and games, because I'm having a week where I'm like, no, it's actually not all fun and games. Like a couple weeks ago, I was in here and I'm like, okay, I can't believe this is my life. Like, this is so great. Oh my gosh. Just like, insert LeBron meme here. But in actuality, just 1 week later, which, you know, if you experience a cycle, you understand why 1 week can change everything. I wasn't feeling so great. And so I'm like, you know what? To hell with this whole series. This maybe was a stupid idea. Like, why am I just painting people in sunglasses? And then I just sat down, did a little more planning, figuring out like what kinds of images were speaking to me. And in doing so, the names of them came to me super quickly. And I think it's because I was in that rut of a state that I was kind of able to tap in to the feelings of what it's like to experience the rut of the mask. Like, oh, I have these things to do, and like it doesn't feel great to be showing up to them. And yes, I might look cute when I show up to them, but that doesn't mean I feel cute. And does the series really get at the this doesn't feel cute anymore side of it? And so today I'm like, yes, I have two paintings that I prepped and did the sketches for. So next week I can really just focus on making progress on them and like getting them done. And then I will feel good about kind of wrapping this series up with 7 paintings, I think it is. So yeah. So I have 5 paintings done for the series. These are 2 of them. We have So Outstanding and Game Set Match. And I loved making these and really like how they turned out. I think the names of them really just get into like more of the concept of like masking and why I wanted to make this series in the first place. Just like, you can be masking and it can look good and people have no idea and you're like tormented on the inside. Other times you might not be and you just look cute, and that's fine too. But really getting into why I love sunglasses and what I think they've come to represent for me, and like they are part of my personality at this point, both because I love the variety and how they look, and also the ways in which they allow me to sort of enter a space and have people notice me. And so it feels safer for me. And I feel like I just kind of like lean more into being myself, which I think is this like the character sort of aspect of masking. But then also, sometimes like when I lived in New York, you could literally like I would be crying on the street and probably have on sunglasses. And it's like maybe you got bad news via email or like whatever, like anything could have happened in your day and you just like, oh, need a moment, babes. And like, yeah, so I think for me, it's just like no matter what kind of day I'm having or what kind of setting I'm in, the sunglasses are there with me. But what are they like? What story are they telling? And what is my story that day? Like, what am I actually experiencing? And so for So Outstanding, it's just like sometimes it's like I don't have to do anything special. I can't help but stand out. And it's like, yes, we have this super bright pattern background and still she is standing out from it because she's so outstanding. But there is a cost to standing out, and sometimes it doesn't feel great or comfortable to be that visible. And then with Game Set Match, I really love this look, and just like the background kind of reminds me of like a tennis match, like the color of the ball meets like the mesh sort of net, and also just looking very demure, very classy going to such an event. But also there is a level of sort of like privacy that you have when you have these like very dark sunglasses on. And yes, they alter your experience of the place because it's darker, possibly. And then also like the fact that other people can't see your eyes, so they don't really know what your like internal experience is. I think that really just gets at like, yep, cute girl eating the girls up, and like you don't know what her day is like, and to assume you know what it is to assume. So like, yeah, I really love how those turned out, but I also felt like just the names and like aesthetically they were almost like too pretty. And I think that is a represent like that's the mask actually. And it's something that you can't you can't keep that up. And so what does not keeping that up look like? And that's where the other two pieces come in that I started today. So show y'all the okay, you can barely see the sketch, but this one is going to be called I Have Nothing Left to Give. You literally can't see the vision, but that's okay. The sketch is there. And this one is called, oh, the sun is sunning. Can we wrap this up? He needs a face still, but yes, these are the two that are gonna make sure the series has the duality that I needed to have. Okay, so in the video where I kind of shared that I'm gonna be working on a different painting series every quarter, I talked about how the reason that I'm even doing this is because what I've learned is like for getting representation or being in galleries or even trying to pitch my work to like be in group shows or exhibitions, being able to sort of like one have a sort of cohesive style across my work is generally seen as like mature and ready for the moment, and then also being able to tell a story with the work, which gallery and all that stuff aside, I want my work to tell stories, and it is all rooted in really like some part of me. Like everything I make feels like a self-portrait. No, like obviously it's not my face, but it's still just like a representation of like who I am, and that's why I make what I make. And so being able to kind of just package that up in a way that people can understand, resonate, and relate to is like that's the goal. And so it was like, cool. I got this thing going. I've started it, but then I think like my creative side jumped out. Like maybe the planning and structuring of the like quarterly series is like my designer self. And if you're new here, aka I haven't said this, I used to be a product designer for a decade in big tech, which I think adds on a layer of like rigidity and structure to how I think about work. But I also think that's what makes me who I am as an artist. It's like I can bring that sort of left brain blah blah to my very fun right brain painting self, but that also creates a lot of kind of dissonance in my mind. And so it's like, cool, I have this idea for this series, this is what we're about to do, awesome, get into it. And I'm like, great, I have 5 paintings for the series now, I want to move on to something else. And I kind of have, like, I already started prepping for the next series, which, as you can see, like, I have this blue canvas here for some idea that I have for the next series. So I'm already, like, I'm not mentally checked out on it, but I needed to do something to kind of recalibrate my interests in this subject. And I think just spending time really revisiting why I even wanted to make this series and what it means to me. And then also just kind of like experiencing more of my life and being like, oh, when I'm not in a super cheery, rosy mood, what do I make? And letting my mood and feelings sort of influence the work and not being too precious about it. This feels like the kind of revelation you can only have the more you paint. Like, it's literally coming to me as I'm saying this. I'm like, oh yeah, just keep living and I'll keep making things, and those things will be influenced by my current state. And that can include so many things. So I'm proud of myself for riding the wave, because this morning I've been crashing out in voice notes to my friends all week. Like, I could let y'all hear one, but then you might really know just how wild it is up here. So yeah, I'm ending my week and my day. It's Friday at 5:10, so literally ending the day, sort of just feeling better about what I'm doing and putting a kind of bow on the story that I want to tell with these 7 paintings. And the other thing is like, the other thing I was wondering is like, what if I'm just afraid of being done with the series, because then I'll have to like share it and tell the story, which also feels like taking off my mask. That's too deep. That's too deep for me. Like, literally, it's making me feel weird saying this. So, like, yeah, I think it's like, oh, when you actually capture the thing you want to capture and it really feels like a self-portrait, how could sharing the paintings not feel like unmasking? Like, my brain is broken and not prepared for that. But also, it's the story I want to tell. And so I feel like I'm really just sort of like, is this like what self-sabotage looks like? I don't know, because I'm talking it through and I'm working through it despite not wanting to finish the series. But I'm going to finish it. But this is the whole point. Is like, this is the messy middle and it feels crappy, but it's also feeling good now that I just like spent some time in it and kind of voiced the feelings and thoughts I was having around the series. It's like, oh, maybe I'm actually tapping into something. And the idea that when I'm done with it and I share it and it's out there, like, do I kind of get to release some of the mask? Like, does that free me a little in some way? Because I'm very much here for that. That's actually the whole point. So yeah, I've been feeling just a little crappy. I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, but it does not look like anything I've ever done. It doesn't feel like anything I've ever done, especially financially. And I feel like I'm being pulled in a bunch of directions and trying to be great at a lot of things in a really short amount of time. And like, trying to put a price on that is like futile, it feels like. But also, like, girls gotta eat, girls got bills, So also, girls just like nice things, and I don't want to keep telling myself no about stuff because I feel irresponsible until I like figure out how to make this art thing sustainable. So that's my truth. I'm working through it. This is what's up in the studio. These are the paintings we have. I have like another painting for the Sunnies at home, one of a friend that's already at the printer. So things are in the works. I will be excited to share the collection, and I'm glad that I get another few weeks to continue to sit with and process the feelings I just described here, because no, I think I've just made myself more anxious when literally 5 minutes ago, before I moved the camera, I was feeling proud of myself for having worked through some of the feelings and gotten the foundation down for the last 2 paintings in the series. So like, I'm gonna try to get back there. And yeah, also, today is the Black Creativity Night Out. Is my hair sticking up? It loves to give alfalfa, child. And so I'm gonna go to the Museum of Science and Industry And I'll have like a 45-minute slot where I'm like standing by your gym and chitty chatting with the people who come by. So that's gonna be fun. And yeah. And I was at the museum on Friday talking to people about my paintings. And a little, like partway through my session there, I ended up crying to my mom and her friend. And I think it's really just like hitting me that even though this is my life's work, it is not necessarily easier than the other kinds of work I've done. And because it's so personal, it's actually harder in some ways. So every time I kind of like start talking about a piece or like why I make art in this current phase, it kind of feels like I'm reopening a wound of like burnout and masking and all the things that kind of led me to this moment. And the more I think about it, the more I'm like, I spent a lot of time trying to get away from being an artist and do things that felt a little more cut and dry and less nebulous. And like working in tech, obviously you solve problems, but there's not a right or wrong, but there is sort of a right and wrong. In art, you're just going off the vibes, seeing how things unfold, no matter how kind of prepared you are for what you're making.
And see, here's the thing. I told myself at the beginning of the year that this is like my portfolio building year. So this is really about making the projects that I want to make without any outside influences and just focusing on what happens when I put all of my thought, effort, etc. into telling the stories I want to tell that I think best represent who I am, what I make, and why I make it. And so, yeah, like I guess 2 months, 3 months into the year, I'm expecting end of year results. But it's like, babe, you have to stay the course. Like, and then when I really think about it, I'm like, damn, I gave tech a decade. Like, I had a decade long career over there and went to grad school for that. So it's like, yeah, I guess that was like a 12-year timeline. I let my career unfold in that space. And it's like, why would this one unfold like it's already unfolding like exponentially faster, or I won't even say it, but yeah, it's already unfolding faster. And so why can't I just give myself the rest of the year? But I kind of forgot, and this lets me know that like this is why we need reminders, things that you know to be true, like in your body, can still escape you if you don't make sure to be like intentional about coming back to them. And somehow I forgot that part. Like I set a goal to post every day, and I've been doing it for like basically like a month now. I've missed some days, but the goal was really just to take the pressure off of posting and lower the barrier to entry and stop thinking about it as this thing that's like so difficult, requires so much work, so much editing. Like, not everything that I post has to be that high lift. And so I think it's working in that I have started to think about posting in a lower lift way and just like having fun. If I have an idea, I make the thing and then I move on. But then somewhere along the way, I got caught up in the metrics, and I'm like, I don't like this, the way this is making me feel. I'm not liking the metrics. Like, what are we doing here? Is this like, why am I even doing this? And then I'm like, actually, the metrics were never the point. The point was always lowering the barrier to my creativity and making the things I want to make, sharing the stuff I want to share. Whew. And so I feel like I'm coming home to all the realizations that I already knew to be true, but like, why do I have to keep learning these lessons? And it's a reminder that sometimes just some things we're going to have to keep learning over and over and over, keep reminding ourselves, keep being intentional about. And so now I'm like, oh, yes, I can post every day, but I need to have like a social list day. So today, Sunday, I'm doing like a no social day. Besides, I may get on to post something, but I also may just schedule it and not care about it being like exactly how I want it to
Oh,
be.
wait.
And
Actually, before I leave the studio, I'm going to do my next week self a favor and wash all those brushes. I don't want to, but when I come in next week, I'm about that action with these two. So we can wrap this series up by the end of the month because I'm very excited for the Q2 series. Cut to. me probably crashing out about that series in late May. Don't say I told you, but maybe I told you. It's been a rough kind of week in the studio, but we are pushing through, we're processing and moving along, and I love that for me. So, hope y'all are having a good start to the week by the time you see this, or having a good day whenever you see it. Doesn't really matter. Have a good one, and I'll be back. Trust I'll be back. Can't get rid of me that easy, even though I be crashing out, babes. I'm not going nowhere.